Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the No Close Show. As always, Scott Carson, excited to be here with you today. Today's episode is kind of a little bit about what this stuff going on online in the last couple of weeks we've seen here. If you're listening to this a few weeks out, you probably will go back and remember all these 10-year challenges, the 10-year challenge or the 10-year photo option, where people are posting current photos of themselves and then posting photos of themselves from 10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever. And it's kind of a funny thing seeing how people have changed. Some people still look the same. You know, what were you doing 10 years ago? And I'm like, okay, whatever. But last night I had my WCN membership coaching call, which we have at least once, twice a month with our members. And it was funny. I was flipping through my files to pull up a spreadsheet, pull up a document to share with them. And I come across this video of me on my desktop from 10 years ago. And it's me literally, this is before I was really full-time in the notes. I was doing some note stuff, but literally it was funny because it was the day one video of a personal challenge that I put myself forward of making 100K in 100 days. It was a challenge I put out. I thought it was the summer of 2009, July, the end part of July. I'd just gone through, I've been divorced for a year. I was celebrating really kind of the 1-year anniversary of getting unhitched. And I remember I was a little frustrated. I was living in Pflugerville, Texas, in this 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot house, big backyard, just me and my dog. And at that time, I was no longer in the mortgage business. I'd walked away. I was just basically a full-time real estate investor and a full-time coach for Bob Lee and Andy and Jimmy Kelly here, where I learned the business from and doing a lot of stuff of my own. And I remember doing this 100K and 100-day challenge to put myself out there. And I was doing a little blog every day about what I was accomplishing, what was I focused on, what kind of leads were I getting, what kind of marketing was I doing to help me hit my goals. And the funny thing is this video is the end of day one. And I also found at the same time the little kickoff video I filmed that same day to kind of launch it out there. And what I was doing is literally every day I would write a little blog or I'd do a little video of my recap. And I found this video and I had to play it. And it was just funny because I'm looking at me 10 years ago. And I actually think I have aged quite well. I no longer have this furry beast on my chin. It's a raccoon, as Stephanie likes to affectionately call it, that I'd had for a couple of years. My hair is shorter now. It's got a little bit more gray in it. I don't think I was using much hair gel back then. But anyway, my hair is longer. I'm a little heavier now, which is fine. But I still look at that guy and I'm like, wow, what that guy was going through. And I can remember what that guy was going through because it literally just brought back all these emotions over the last night. I've watched the video a couple times over and I thought about it. But the most important thing I look at is like, okay, well, I wonder how many people have looked at that blog because I haven't gone to that blog forever. I used to blog pretty regularly on Hub Pages. It's still around. And I went back and found my old login and logged into it. And I looked at how many people had viewed that video. And it was literally 3,500 people had looked at that video or read that blog since then. I wouldn't say they've watched that video because that video used to be on YouTube that was taken down when I lost my first YouTube account. So it's been up for a while. But somehow that video made it to my new desktop, like 3 desktop layers it shows up here. And I think and as much as I type in 100 for 100,000 earners or 100-day chat and things like that, I have never seen this video until last night. It's a little grainy. It's a square video. It's me in the house. Not really good lighting. I think somebody's holding the video while I'm talking. It was done with a flip cam. I think I still have the flip. Actually, I do have the flip cam. The little Dell flip camera. This is actually the one that I recorded it with. It wasn't on my cell phone at that point because I didn't do it, but it was little Dell flip cam. These little cool things were really good. I still could use these. You plug in a thumb drive. It's got all the video editing software. One of the best things they were created until they started going with smartphones with better cameras. So I look at this guy and I'm literally seeing the flashbacks of what the last 10 years has been like. And I look at the marketing aspect of things too. 3,500 people have read the blog. That's really roughly one reader a day. And what's funny is I posted it to Facebook. You can go over my Facebook profile, see the video. Posted there from yesterday being Monday night. I thought it was just funny. I got to share this. This is my 10-year challenge, basically. And there was people that reached out to me. A buddy of mine on Facebook, Tyrone in Memphis. I have never met Tyrone in person. But that blog, that video that posted, that marketing from 100-day challenge inspired him to go do some things. And Tyrone saw it. It was kind enough to post on there as well. So big shout out to you, Tyrone, if you're listening. And if I remember correctly, Tyrone's situation, living in Memphis, he was a forklift operator, if I remember properly, living at home, struggling to make ends meet. I think he had his parents living with him originally back in the day, and struggling to pay for their medication and be the man of the house. Well, now, flash forward, he's now a full-time real estate investor, started wholesaling. We spent some time on the phone with him, talking to him, helping him through some of his first deals, and now he's literally just a full-time, just a rock star, doing some amazing things down there, definitely providing well for his family. And you look at what marketing can do. And I'm in the video talking about, oh, here's what I got my leads from today on Facebook. Here's where I got my leads on Twitter. You know, I sent an email out to my email blast on LinkedIn. People reached out to me, and I even posted to MySpace. Everybody took a laugh. Oh, MySpace. Hey, MySpace is just another social media website that you could close deals from. You could market to. Now it's obviously gone the way of the dodo bird for the most part. But the thing you have to keep in mind is, have you done that? Have you looked back at 10 years, thought about what you've accomplished the last 10 years, what your marketing has done? Because literally the message, almost verbatim of what I preach to this day still is very, very valuable. It's still very relevant today, provided the MySpace thing. And, you know, I look back at that guy, and if you listen to the deals that I'm talking about, I was all over the place. I was trying to wholesale some deals. There were some note deals on a deal in Georgetown, Texas, a sub-2 deal in San Antonio. And I think that's the biggest thing looking back, is he literally fast forwarding, I think about a year later from that video, because I took it July 29th of 2009. Yeah, it was about a year and a half later that I sold everything in Austin, and then I went on my road trip and became solely focused on note investing that next year. And I laugh because it's funny to look back at that, and not only to see the face. Steph was like, oh my gosh, that fur baby in my face. But looking back and thinking, okay, what all the things that I've accomplished in the last 10 years. And that's kind of a powerful thing to think about. Don't get me wrong. I have had my shares of ups. I've had my shares of downs in the last 10 years, like everybody has. But I think the biggest thing, I look at what that guy has accomplished in the last 10 years, I'm really excited and even more invigorated at what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And what happens when I look back today on this episode, I look back 10 years from now at where we're at today and then where the market's at today. And will I still be in note investing? I think so. I'll still be a real estate investor for sure. Will podcasting be around still? Will it be video casting? What's the big thing to look at? Because literally podcasts, while they did exist back 10 years ago, I didn't know what a podcast was. I was starting to do videos, a little video blog each day. And the value in that, and the thing to keep in mind here is, I've planted a lot of trees the way I look at it. If you don't know the story about planting trees, there's a man in India who in 1979 was living on this secluded, desolate sandbar in India, void of life, void of water, and just a really ugly place. And what he started doing in 1979, when on his way home from work, as he's walking back to his village, he's walking back to where he lives, he would stop and pick up a tree seedling, and he would go back and plant a tree every day. And every day, he planted a tree. Now, fast forward to where it's at now, obviously, almost 40 years later, actually it is 40 years later, he has this amazing rainforest, this amazing plant-filled, green, animal, all sorts of different animals there, fresh water now flowing throughout it. It's rainforest because he planted tree seedlings, one a day. He did one thing a day. And that's the thing, I look back at that marketing, that's really the overwhelming thing is, you don't have to be a genius at marketing. If you do something and you do it consistently doing it one thing a day, it will build so much momentum. It will build momentum over time. And I know that a lot of us get bogged down on all the different crazy things that we can do in marketing. I know I have to filter things down. People think, oh, you're doing all these things. Well, really, we're doing one thing and then sharing it across 7-8 platforms. So it looks like it's a different thing because we're just repurposing the content. And that's the thing that you look back. What have you, and I challenge everybody here, who, all those that are watching, listening, think about it. Pull out a piece of paper. Where were you 10 years ago? Where were you for that 10-year challenge? What were you doing? Because you think 10 years ago, many people I know were still in college or weren't even in college yet. You could go through college, get an advanced master's. Heck, you could almost be a doctor with their 12 years of college. You know what I mean? The thing you have to keep in mind more than anything else out there, everybody, let's see if anybody. Leah Griggs says you're aging with a grace. Yeah. I look back. I make the running joke that for 3 years during my travel, all this extra weight that I put on was sponsored by Ribeyes and Crown Royal. Totally sponsored. I should have like brands on the side, USDA and Crown Royal. But I got a lot more gray here. It's just I keep it short so you don't see it pop up. Steph gives me a hard time when my hair starts growing. It's like, oh, you're getting old. You need to go shave your head or cut your hair down. Look at where you were 10 years ago. Think about all the things. What were you doing? What were you doing? Where were you living? You know, what have you accomplished? I think back to 10 years ago, I was living here in Pflugerville. I hadn't really traveled that much abroad. I had just gotten back from Europe, actually, and hadn't really traveled much, but I was working with a lot of investors across the country. I was literally spending about 35 weeks doing one-on-one coaching with a lot of people. That was the first year, or the second year actually, that I'd made six figures outside of my real estate investing, where I was making six figures as coaching. And that's the thing. I said, okay, let me stop the coaching side and get back to the focus on the real estate side. And it was so successful by day 56, I had literally did not have time to do video anymore. I think 58 or something like that. I had to stop it because I was so busy at each day with deals and leads and things like that. That's why I always joke about that. If you do something constantly and consistently, the same message, the same focus each day, day in, day out, you're going to drive traffic to you. You're going to be successful. What I see so many entrepreneurs struggling with and note investors is that you're all over the place. You're all over the place. There is no rhyme or reason or focus to what you're doing. And people can see that. Now, that's the big thing I want you guys to think about is what if you could now think about this. If you could now write the script for your next 10 years, what would that look like? Think about that. What would the next 10 years look like to you? Tyrone, I think I just saw you hop on here, brother. Nothing but love for you, Tyrone. Watch it on Facebook Live. The thing like I said, everybody, is where would you be in 10 years? Tyrone has changed his life dramatically. I've changed my life dramatically. Many of you have changed your life dramatically in the last 10 years. You know, when has been the biggest aha moment? I think the biggest aha moment I have learned in the last 10 years really comes from a couple of deals. It also comes from reaching out and making some big changes, not being afraid to go gung-ho all in, basically. You know, and I have realized for a while that there's things that, you know, what's the best way to say this? That I did things that maybe not others could do. You know, the fact of selling everything, going on the road for 3 years straight, that's not something that everybody can do because they've got family, they've got kids. You know, you just got to look at it and be creative in how you do it. But the thing I want you to, like I said, look at where do you want to be in the next 10 years? Where do you want to be living? And I know 10 years is a big time frame. Maybe you need to look at 5 years. Maybe you need to look at 4 years. Look at where you're at today. Because literally whatever problem you're facing right now, we all have issues, is a temporary blip on where we want to be. It's a temporary blip on your real estate business. If you're struggling with cash flow, like that was one of the biggest things that we discussed last night on the WC Inquiry. And thank you to everybody that was on that call. I think a lot of people got a lot out of it based on the emails and the comments. We're seeing tapes out there, you know, performing, non-performing, and people are literally avoiding making offers on a lot of assets because the fact is they have these preconceived, you know, ideas in their head. Oh, it's a performing note paying 15, 16%. I don't have the money. I'm not going to go do that. Well, maybe you need to learn to market and shift your perspective, because that was the whole focus last night of the call. If we took these 100 notes, we focused on the 68, 69 that were performing, narrow that down some. But if you could talk to people, I think as real estate investors, we get so bogged down that people are looking for 12% or greater. Well, yeah, because that's the people you hang out with, the sharks. We're all freaking sharks out there, want to make a good return on our money. Well, that's not necessarily the good return that is really probably the United States. And thinking back to my banking background, the bankers, financial advisors are brainwashing society. They've got all the talking heads on TV with Jim Cramer's, all this stuff. And it's more entertainment these days. It's not something you want to base your investment advice off of, but they're looking at 0 to 4%. 1 to 4% is safe. 4 to 8, okay, that's mid, a little risky, but anything 8 to 12 is high risk. They're literally already done all the educating on the interest rates that people should be expecting. And so I know that we, birds of a feather flock together. And we investors like to go to meetup groups and networking events and expos and things like that. But that's not the best use of our time. I know, I just said that. Going to a real estate investment club is not always the best use of your time, especially if you're not marketing already. Now, yes, those are great things to go to scratch your itch, your proverbial itch that we all have with networking and wanting to talk with people. And hey, we're a real estate investor because we hang out with investors. But if you're not making active offers, if you're not working a portfolio of assets of some sort, and a portfolio could be 1, 2, 3 properties. If you're not really working that, or you're not involved with that, you're not an investor. You're a wanna investor, a wannabe. Because there's two things that separate those that take action and those that don't. And taking action is making offers, it's marketing. So let's talk about some of the things with marketing these days. I still think Facebook is a great thing. There's a lot of great tools about what you can use with Facebook. MySpace, I don't think I would necessarily be investing in MySpace or your time there, okay? But the Facebook, the Twitter, the LinkedIn are phenomenal places to still be marketing. They're phenomenal places to talk with investors. They're phenomenal places to talk with people that are working, that have the money, but they don't have the time. And they don't have the time to go out and find the deals for their portfolio. They don't have the time to help them put their IRA to work. And that's a couple of things that you have to look at doing. Is many people are trading their time, and many people are working salaries. They're trading their time for a specific salary or an hourly rate. And that's fine. If you're happy with that, you're comfortable with it, you're happy and know it, clap your hands. That's fine. But if you're not happy with where you're at, you are solely responsible for where you're at. Nobody else is. I'm sorry. You have said yes, or you failed to speak up along the way, and you allowed people to make those decisions for you. It's the same thing in your marketing. If you don't speak up, if you don't share what you have going on, others are going to share what they have going on. And in this world, people flock, maybe not to the best leader, but they flock to the loudest person a lot of times. And that's a quote from the American president, Kirk Douglas. People do in a lack of leadership, people flock to the loudest voice. We obviously see that happening in politics a lot of times. You have the Democrats, the Republicans, who are trying to be louder, shooting noise over everything. Yeah, okay? Don't get bogged down into that. Steph says something here. She says, the 10-year mark is less about looks for me and more about mindset. Oh, whatever. You were giving me all sorts of crap last night about my furry friend in my face. 10 years ago, I believe the country would have healed itself in many aspects, but that was naive youth. Now more than ever, I believe we have to make our own way and depend on ourselves rather than any administrative organization or companies to carry us. Yep. We have to stand up and fight for what we believe in because they will only do it out of convenience. We have to do it even when it's hard. Such a great comment, Steph. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, our looks change, but our mindset has changed. I look back now, I'm much stronger mentally than I was 10 years ago. I'm a big believer in faith. I believe that God provides for those that go out and do it. I'm a big believer that Obama wasn't going to save your house, and Trump sure isn't going to save your house or your bar. You've got to go out and do it yourself. And yesterday, I had the privilege of being a guest on the Crushing Debt podcast with my buddy Sean Yesner, who's been a previous guest on our show. And he, most of the time, he used to represent banks back in the day. Now he switched over to the side. Now he's as a law firm that represents the borrowers in bankruptcy and foreclosure cases. It was great. We were talking back and forth about the mentality of the borrower. The borrower thinks, oh, the bank is out to get my house. They want my house. And he's like, no, the bank does not want that. The bank wants you to pay your mortgage. That's all they want, really. It's a mental space. And we look back, the last 10 years has been quite a bit of an up and down, especially up, a good ride for many people that got in. Are you prepared if you're in a downturn? Are you prepared to switch your focus if things go south? And I see so many investors, I see so many people in the real estate industry who aren't marketing because they're just riding this wave. Oh, it's great. I don't have to market for clients. They just walk in, they just fall over in my lap, fall over in front of my office. So I get so many leads. You have to realize that you have to take action and start marketing. And I love seeing people marketing. Like I see little notifications like pop up on emails, and I just see people sending out emails. It looks like Steve Young, if you're listening to this, but I just saw that your email went out to your database, which is great. I'm a part of. That's awesome. Keep doing it. Build consistency. And that's the only way that you're going to get where you want to be in 10 years from now. You look back at the last 10, learn from your mistakes. Look from the changes that have taken place. And look at the falsehoods that you thought to be true 10 years ago that turned out not to be accurate. As Steph said, we're the only ones that they can change what we want to. Our mindset is one of the most powerful tools that you'll ever have. And using that mindset to keep going, overcoming your obstacles. We have obstacles all the time. We have deals that are going well. We have deals that are going south. That's fine. We work to get those taken care of. We have funders that are funny deal. We have people are buying assets and then they flake. Hey, we work through it. If this is a challenging field for many of you, you don't have that mental mindset, that mental strength, then you probably need to focus on getting a job. And that's okay. Some people are not cut out to be real estate investors. They're not cut out to deal with a constant influx of change. All right. You know, that's the big thing I want you guys to look at. If you're still working a job and your biggest goal is to get away from that job, put a plan together. Start marketing. Start doing something to help make this next decade different. You do not want to be a slave of the job of something you hate. That's one of the biggest things I always promise myself. I would never do something that I hate doing. I would make a change because ultimately I am the one responsible for where I'm at today. I'm responsible for the decisions that I've made along the way. Nobody else is. I'm responsible for the good. I'm equally responsible for the bad. Not God. Me, myself, and I, the three of us. Okay? My multiple personality disorder, as I joke about, my multiple investor personality, I'm responsible. You have to look at it and be accountable. And wherever you're at, you're responsible. You have to quit giving excuses, quit giving crap out there. Oh, that deal didn't work out, so I'm not going to do it. Oh, I made an offer on one asset, they didn't accept it, so this will not work out for me. Oh, I only made 10 offers. Oh, I called 10 banks. Like I had a guy email me the other day. He's like, oh, I made some phone calls to some banks and one asset manager was really rude to me. And I'm like, so? You learn more from that call than you did from those that said yes or no, right? Well, they're all going to be like that. And they're not all going to be like that. Life is not the summation of the worst possible opportunity, the worst possible situations. You have the best and the worst. And what happens is 85, 90, 95%, depending on how extreme you are, live in somewhere in the middle. Live somewhere in the middle there. That's what you have to realize. And that's why your marketing is so important. Your marketing, especially if you're doing it on a daily basis, regular basis, is going to help guide you to where you want to be. So think about, like I said before, where do you want to be in 10 years? What does that look like? You know, we've often talked about where to be in 3 years. 3 years is a lot easier to handle than 10 years. Great, then put 3 years. And then what's that look like after your 3 years? And then what's that look like 3 years later? What opportunities, if you're on the path that you want to get to, what's that turn out to? For me, what my and our biggest goal is increasing our cash flow. We are making a conscious effort buying more performing notes, still buying non-performing, but buying more performing notes for our own portfolio. Using other people's money who want to make 6%, buying performing notes and arbitraging the funds and using that and making it a win-win across the board. That's one of the biggest things we're focused on. 3 years from now, Steph and I think we both believe we will be in a different city. We'll be in a different area. Who knows? Still doing a lot of marketing, still being out there. But I think the winds of change. The Scorpions just suddenly, the Wind of Change song just came in my mind from Scorpions out there. So think about this. What will be around? Where will you be in the next 10 years? What social media platforms will pop up? What social media platforms will be gone? I saw a really good post the other day from Gary Vaynerchuk where he's talking about, hey, somebody who's talking to somebody who's just building his business on Instagram. He's like, that's awesome, man. But what happens if Instagram goes away? What happens if it gets bought up by somebody and they change it dramatically and it tweaks your business dramatically? This is why you need to market across different platforms. This is why, we do so much, especially here with a podcast, of not only just doing a video here and uploading it to YouTube and Vimeo, but then also taking the audio and throwing it across our 20 platforms, uploading to the smart TV channels with the videos, and then doing all the other stuff we do. One thing turns into 8, 9, 10 pieces of content for us. And that's one of the most valuable things I could say to you guys is have your focus, know where you're going, and share it across everywhere. You're going to have some things that work well. You're going to find clients in some areas where you wouldn't find them in others. And that's why we cross-pollinate. So if you look back at your 10 years, learn from your lessons and apply those lessons to your future. And that's what I would share with you guys today. Go out, share it, do your own 10-year challenge. Take some time, consider about it, because I was thinking about this last night, thinking about this morning, as I'm laying in bed there, just kind of cracking up, thinking of all the things that have gone through the last 10 years. Good, bad, I'm here. What doesn't hurt you, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And that's how you truly get to the top. So go out, make something happen, everybody. Thank you to all you guys that are listening, that are watching. Always grateful. Love it if you guys would go to iTunes, leave a review, subscribe. Same thing, leave a comment on YouTube if you're watching this there as well, and Facebook. But otherwise, like I said, thank you so much, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody.